Welcome to Bodycore, the evolution of training. The Bodycore functional training platforms are the next generation of vibration training. Different movement, purely vertical, different design, allowing you to take a dynamic step forward with your training. If you want to get results, the Bodycore platforms provide a more effective, more efficient workout than ever before. Whatever your goal, toning, strength conditioning, balance, flexibility, increased calorie output, improved circulation, a workout on Bodycore will allow you to achieve this. Be stirred, not shaken.
Barbell squat. Safety point first, what we need to remember with the squat is always keep the knees slightly flexed, so we're keeping the reverberation out of the head. If you lock out at the knees, the vibration or the reverberation will go straight up into the head and cause discomfort. So at all times, when we're on the platform, keep the knees slightly soft. Okay, once we've loaded the bar up, across the fleshy part of the shoulders, hands about 1.5 times shoulder width apart, pull the core in to stabilise the lower back, keep the chest lifted and open, keep the head looking towards the horizon in a natural position. From there, we're going to sit back with our weight into the heels. Good, just down to 90 degrees at the knees. What we're looking for here is shoulders to stay behind the knees to stay behind the toes, and the centre of the patella tracking over second and third toe, so we're not getting any inward or outward movement. Then we drive back through the heels, back to the starting position, just remembering to keep the knees slightly flexed. Okay, let's rep 5 of those. Good, all the time keeping the head looking on the natural horizon, keeping the abs drawn in, keeping the back really strong, bending only from the waist, keeping the spine nice and straight, sitting into the heels, knees behind toes, central patella tracking over second and third toe. Squat now. Okay, remembering safety points first, always keeping the knees slightly flexed to keep the reverberation out of the head. When we're taking off from the plyometric squat, we're going to start from the eccentrically loaded position, so sink down into position. From this point, remember we're looking to keep knees behind toes, central patella tracking over second and third toe, shoulders behind knees, back nice and strong, bending forward from the waist, head looking down to the natural horizon. From here, from the eccentrically loaded position, we're going to drive up and gain as much height as we can. As we come back down and land, we're going to land straight into this loaded position, ready for the next one. Okay, let's do 3 or 4 of those. So up she goes, using the arms to drive up, landing straight back down into the eccentric position, so not landing, then sinking in. We're sinking straight into that loaded position. One more and rest there. Come up and step off. We're going to look at the plyometric squat next. Remember the safety points, keeping the knees flexed at all times when we're on the platform, just to keep the reverberation out of the head. Okay, plyometric squats then, really good for developing the power through the quads and the glutes. So remember, we always start from the eccentric loaded position, so go down into the start position. This is our start-finish position. Back nice and strong, straight, leaning forward from the waist, head looking down to the natural horizon, knees back behind the toe line, centre of the patella tracking over the second and third toe, shoulders keeping tucked in behind the knees, weight taken through the heels. From here we're going to drive up, gain as much height as we can, and then sink straight back into that start position. Up we go, really get some power, drive up, we're going to get 2 more, driving up, 1 more, and rest, keep the knees slightly flexed. Okay, every time we landed there, just keeping that body posture, back nice and strong, head looking at the natural horizon, keeping the weight back into the heels, keeping knee alignment. Okay, so that's our plyometric squat. Okay, we're going to look at the single leg squat, but to make it a little bit more challenging this time, we've added in the bosu board. Okay, what this is going to do is really start to challenge the ankle stability, and you'll see how hard Chris has got to work to keep a balance through the ankle in just a second. Safety point first, whenever we're stood on the moving platform, make sure we keep the knees slightly flexed so that we take all the movement through the legs and not allowing any reverberation to go up into the head. Okay, first thing we need to do then is position the foot on the centre of the board, and then take the left leg away, stabilising through the core. Got to keep everything really tight because we're stabilising the pelvis over just a small base of 1 foot. From there now, once we've got our balance, we're going to sit in, try and control the knees, but we can see how hard the leg's working all the time. Okay, as soon as it starts to settle down, catching the balance. Okay, we're controlling the knee, trying to keep the knee centre over second and third toe, keeping the back strong, keeping the core pulled in. Okay, we're just going to try a couple of reps now. Getting everything working really hard. You can see how hard the quads are working, by having to accept the movement of the platform. That's a good 3 reps there, and relax back down. Okay, really hard work through the ankle. You can see how hard that Chrissy was having to work there to stabilise through the ankle, and having to work really hard to keep the pelvis stable over that small base of support. So that is a single leg squat on the bosu. Okay, next we're going to look at the kettlebell single arm snatch. Safety points first, remembering whenever we're on the platform, always keep the knees slightly flexed so that the movement's being accepted through the legs and the reverberation's being kept out of the head. Okay, start position then, taking hold of the kettlebell in one hand with the palm facing backwards and the kettlebell hanging across the body towards the centre line. One hand behind the back, just in the base of the back, just to keep the shoulders nice and square. We're going to sit to the start position then, squat positioning, shoulders behind knees, knees behind toes, centre patella behind second and third knee, head looking down to natural horizon. From here we're keeping the abs nice and tight, stabilise the lower back. As we drive through the heels, we're going to drive the hips forward, front raising the kettlebell and then flipping it over at the top. Nice, and back down. What you'll notice with Chrissy here, she's allowing the kettlebell to just rotate in the hand, forwards and backwards, as she drives through the heels and really drives those hips forward to generate the power to get the kettlebell moving forward with the arm, just a slight extension of the movement. But all the power's being created from the core here as Chrissy drives those hips forwards and the arm's just carrying the movement through. We'll get one more, nice posture, down, as she drives up, lets the kettlebell flip over and rest. And that is the kettlebell single arm snatch. Next we're going to introduce you to the med ball slam. Real power type movement, but you'll see Chrissy rotating away from the medicine ball in a second. That's just to challenge her reaction time of turning away, turning back, focusing on catching the ball before the next slam. So the slam's creating a lot of power, and the fast turning and catching is really focusing Chrissy's reaction times on catching the ball and targeting where she's going to slam it into the floor. Okay, safety points first then, always keeping the knees slightly flexed when we're up on the moving platform, just so we keep the reverberation out of the head. Alright, Chrissy's going to start off with the medicine ball. What we'll notice first is she's extending right up, getting up onto the toes, so we're getting full extension, and then as she brings the ball down, she's going to drop onto the heels and then slam the ball into the floor, going into a sort of half squat position. Okay, so we're going to show you some repetitions of that now, talking through it as we go, and you'll see Chrissy rotating through the squat and catching the medicine ball back and then re-slamming. Okay, ready? Here we go then, slamming in, catch, turn at speed, catch, then up and extend, driving down, really power the ball into the floor, powering down, good, sitting into that half squat position every time she jumps, extending the ball up above the head, getting up onto the toes, full extension, loading up, creating as much power as she can as she drives the ball down into the floor. Last one, extending up, driving, turn, catch, and rest. Okay, you can see it's a really explosive, dynamic type movement, challenging lots of different aspects of Chrissy's fitness, reaction times, power, speed, and from there you can see quite intense. So that is the med ball slam on the platform. Okay, we're going to introduce you to the tensioned bicep squat curl. Okay, what we're looking at here is Chrissy's got to keep the tension through these cables all the time. Okay, so these aren't going to move, there's no resistance here, these are just fixed tension bands. So Chrissy's got to create the tension herself through the biceps by pulling herself down into the squat. Okay, so we've got feet shoulder width apart. Remember, safety points first, that we always keep the knees slightly flexed when the platform's moving, so we keep the reverberation out of the head. Okay, so feet in position. Instead of just letting Chrissy fall into the squat position, what I wanted to do is pull herself down into the squat position, keeping as much tension through these straps as she possibly can. And as she goes down, you see the elbow joint narrowing there, good strong back posture, abs are pulled in to stabilise the lower back, so we're getting work through the biceps predominantly, because that's what Chrissy's pulling into the squat with, trying to pull these handles up towards the ceiling, keeping as much tension through the biceps as she can, but we're also getting quite a lot of work out of quads, hamstrings and glutes, working with the movements of the platform. Okay, so a lot of intensity here, specifically in the biceps, but we're also getting good work out of the legs as well. So we're increasing our calorie output by involving bigger muscle groups and a lot more of them than a traditional bicep curl. Just last one, and then we're going to hold at the top. So really pulling on the straps to create as much tension here as we can, holding there, and that is the tensioned bicep squat curl.